Hi, everybody. So, welcome to Black Prose Book Club, where Black lives, Black authors, and Black books have always mattered. This is our first podcast for the month of March, and we are very excited. I'm Oshale of Oshi Reads.
I'm Brittany of Melanin Eclectic.
And I'm Troy Nicole of Ink Flare Studio.
Welcome.
It's nice. It's so weird because we spent all last month only getting on to read. So it's oh yeah, that's right. We do talk about other things sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little bit of a warm up to get back into the swing of things for sure.
Yeah. Because the reading sprints were kind of wonderful.
They were amazing.
Yeah. Hold on, my mother, as I text my mother, hey, I'm gonna go on D&D to do a podcast, is now texting me, what's wrong? Mommy,
what's wrong?
Did you read the whole text message?
She read going on D&D and
I think she just read going on D&D.
She got stuck there. She said, do not disturb. What is wrong with my child?
Let me just make sure she's good.
My grandmother's that way. I sent her one of those, if they call you and you're busy, you'd be like, I'm busy, can I call you later things?
Yes.
And then she texted me 80 times in a row, call me immediately. Are you okay? Did someone else have your phone? I'm like,
not does somebody else have your phone?
And I was like, no, I was on the phone with my mom and I just quickly was like, can't talk.
You hit that customize, you hit that auto.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, well, I watched Dateline and there was this murder and they used the quick things. I was just like,
I can't.
I was like, okay, future reference. You'll know I'm being kidnapped if someone uses that because I'll never use it again.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so funny because I had this thing when I was in college with my group of friends that if we texted a certain word, then that meant somebody's been kidnapped, and I think it was turtle or something.
Oh my god, ours was pineapple. Because we had a code word too, and then that also applied if if they sent pineapples 4, that was I'm in a date, which we already got a picture of the guy's license plate anyway before her date.
Yeah,
and if the date's going bad, she would need you to call in 4 minutes.
That's so
okay.
The amount of calls that we have done to be like, I'm having an emergency.
Yes.
You right now to get a friend out of a bed. I mean, I've had a baby. I've had to go to the emergency room. I have broken my arm. I've had horrible explosive diarrhea. I mean, the reasons are out of control. I'm having a baby in the bathroom.
I'm having a baby in the bathroom.
Make sure that it's something off of a crazy drama show. I make sure that it's something that happened to me in the past so that I'm not trying to speak ill into my life. So it'll be oh my gosh, I was playing softball and I caught the ball wrong and I broke my wrist and this is terrible. I'm like, that actually legit really already happened. So I should never have to have that happen again.
My friend has called me and be like, hey, Alex, which is her sister's name. And I would be like, hey, she's like, are you okay? Do you need me to come right now? I was like, no, girl, I'm in the hospital. Just go on with it. And then she hangs up, and then 10 minutes later, I love you. I was just like,
that's called being a girl's girl, okay? To just immediately get on the phone and just immediately jump into your role. That's being a girl's girl.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your service. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's real friends. We lie for each other to get out of dates because men kill us for less.
Oh, got dark. Got
real dark.
Sorry, I had to drop a little truth moment in there. Why do we do this? You might ask.
I know.
Unfortunately, that reminded me of something terrible. So y'all saw the New York thing where the girl lost her feet because her boyfriend pushed her onto the tracks?
Onto the train tracks in the subway. I saw that. That made me sad. Because it's just
so many questions.
The amount of rage and hatred you would have for someone to push them onto the train tracks as a train is coming is just something I can't comprehend. That's actually insane. Actually.
Do you know there are comments from the other species talking about They need to put in more emergency safety shutdown systems for the train, blaming the train and
The
not
train was the problem
and
in that
not the
scenario.
not the person who literally tried to attempt murder. I was like, I'm so
So
exhausted.
so y'all want the train to jerk to a stop, possibly have so much force that everyone just goes booming into the train.
Yeah, I was like, clearly none of y'all have ever taken a physics class because there's a
I was
thing
about to
called
say,
momentum,
like,
and
at
there's
the rate it's going, an immediate stop would send everyone hurling.
I will say that I think this is happening more often because ever since COVID, we've heard more and more stories about violence with people pushing people onto train tracks and such. And I feel like this is happening because there's just less police presence on the subway. Like I remember when I lived in New York, like it was not
well,
strange.
didn't they increase that and called in the National Guard?
Sorry, you went
Like
in
that
and out.
was dang, not my internet acting dumb today too. Like they had already increased cop presence and called in the National Guard to the subways in New York.
Jesus.
I was
Really?
like, this
Because
is
I feel like that is not the story that civilians who live there tell.
yeah, see, I don't know anything about New York. I was just going off of the news because when I saw that, I just looked further and I was like, but also I was trying to look to see like, was he arrested? Is he being charged with attempted murder?
Yeah, what's the news
Battery,
on that?
assault? Like, what is his charges? But I didn't see anything about that. And I was like, he better be hit with at least 4 charges. Two
It's
of them
just
are definite felonies. Definite. So like I mean his life he took that woman no longer has feet. They were severed from her body.
that must have been such a terror. I can't even imagine, honestly. That's terrifying. Ooh,
And then it's like I can't that was super loud. It's
I'm
like
so
I can't possibly imagine. Oh, okay. See, says no, they keep saying there's an increased cop presence, but the cops don't actually do their job. They're too busy stopping folks from jumping turnstiles. That makes I'm not surprised. I guess I
yeah.
will just say it like that. I'm not surprised at all. Um, yeah.
It's just different vibes. Like the last time I went to New York is just different vibes from when I lived there. And it just feels there's definitely like everyone's like on edge. I mean, obviously not all over the city, but it's just not the same. It doesn't feel as safe for sure.
Mm.
Like there was a period of time, like right after everything was back up, that I absolutely refused to go on the subway. I was like, oh heck no, no.
You were like, I'm good. Thanks so much.
Which is so
I
weird to
will.
say because that's literally the main way you get around New York City is getting on this. I mean, literal celebrities who live in New York get on the subway. Like that's how common it is to ride the subway. So it's
Yeah,
just sad.
that's crazy. Okay. All that to say, ladies, happy Women's Month. Be safe out there. That's all I can think to say is just like I want us ladies to be safe out there because
That segue was hysterical.
I had no way to blend that. It was just like
I
happy
know.
Women's Month. Be safe. Thanks so
I
much.
know.
Be safe.
Please safe.
Speaking of Women's Month, let me bring us into our today's topic. So Professor Sprout, I'm not calling her by her real name on purpose. Professor Sprout from the Harry Potter series was doing an interview and she decided to say that she was basically really confused as to why adult Harry Potter fans are not over it yet. Because it was 25 years ago and like they should be over it. And I should also point out, I'm not over here standing up for turf war lady or whatever her name is. I don't recognize her name either. But my thing with that kind of statement is like, do you not realize the type of life that millennials have had to live? We have gone through multiple wars, multiple major natural disasters. Like, our government is stripping our rights left and right. We go to college, get in debt, and can't even afford to live anymore. Like, we have so many bad things happening in our lives. If I want to go watch the same movies and shows that I watched when I was 8 or however old I was, like, I should be able to do that without all of you rich people who clearly have nothing better to do with your lives commenting on what my normal behind is doing. If you want to change that, put your money where your mouth is. Otherwise, leave us alone.
And
Like,
also, like, beyond like Harry Potter, because y'all know I said this before, like I did like Harry Potter when I was young, and I'm not just saying that because JK is who she is, like just in a general sense. It wasn't like it was always my older sister's thing more so than it was my thing. But I did like Harry Potter, but even more so than like that, like there's this general sense of that there's a age limit for things. Like they want to make an age limit for people who like watch anime, for people who like to go to Disney World. And if I have to like get on TikTok and see someone whining about adults liking Disney World for the 100th time, I'm just like, and what if they do? I promise you, them Epcot drinks are not for children.
First of all, they slap. I have never successfully made it through all of Epcot without being very intoxicated. Great times.
I just feel like. No, go ahead, Troy.
No, I wouldn't say anything.
I just feel like it's such a strange take because would you say that to Lord of the Rings fans? Would you say that to Pride and Prejudice stands? Pride and Prejudice was written in the early 1800s. We still haven't gotten over it.
I think I've only seen the vitriol towards Disney adults, HP, and specific animes because the gatekeeper anime community is wild. It's just, I don't know. My whole thing with it is like, I need moments to be happy. Like, even my therapist is very big on like finding hobbies to like quiet your mind, but like, you know, things that just bring you joy. Like, the fact that I like plushies, but I purposely do not buy plushies because they're not individually wrapped in plastic. So my germ situation could never handle it. But when I find them wrapped up individually, I will buy them. Like, I will buy them without a second guess. But I'll walk through the little plushie aisles just to be happy because I know I could never own them. Because I know that there was some kids walking around just all across
you
it.
You can watch them.
Yeah.
That mentally cannot. The idea of having to pay $30 for a fantastic plushie just to go home and have to wash it immediately.
Troy.
To be fair, I should point out, like I bought this one because he was individually wrapped, and I was like, I will love you forever.
Y'all's plushies being like accessible like this.
I'm on my bed.
I'm not on my bed.
And I actually have more, but I just don't feel like going to get them.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, these are just things that are nobody's business but my own. I'm not harming anybody by just being happy for having my little plushie situation going on. I've got other ones. They also all have names. Why? Because I'm weird. I also name my plants.
Yeah.
But for people to feel like they need to tell me like again, I'm using Harry Potter as the example because the interview was specifically about Harry Potter. But I think this applies to like everything. It'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you still watch that.
Yeah.
Because I saw somebody comment about adults who watch Bluey. And I was like, clearly you've never watched Bluey because that show, I started watching it because of my my nephew. But we got to one episode where it was just about like, you know, taking a moment to take a breath and relax. And I was just like, okay, Bluey, like remind me of something. And here I am watching all 3 seasons. It's just do what makes you happy.
You know what's interesting? I feel like because of the internet, conversations are amplified and made to feel as if like this new phenomenon is happening when I just don't think that's the case. Like when we were kids, our parents talked about like their music and their time and the things that they loved, and they seemed stuck in their time as well. As adults, it's just that they didn't have social media to amplify their nostalgia. They didn't have social media to amplify the things that they still held near and dear to their heart. Like, I don't even think that my parents listened to music past like when they were in their 20s. They stayed there, and that's like the music that they consume regularly, and that's just where they're at. They didn't progress past that point. A few artists made it through, but no. And that's like just another example of nostalgia and kind of like, you know, yearning for like the days of your youth and things like that. I just think that because we have social media now,
Yeah.
and also because so many people are exercising their freedoms to not have kids and not necessarily live a conventional life, it seems as if childhood is extended, but it's not. It's just as an adult, you finally get to enjoy the things that maybe you didn't get a chance to really truly enjoy as a child. Like maybe you enjoyed it. Like I know for me, I lived in a household where we got to enjoy things, but we got to enjoy things on a budget. Okay. And
Yeah.
I didn't get to like fully dive into my hobbies and the things that I love because my parents had 3 kids to provide for. And so as an adult now, I get to indulge and really like dive into the things I've always loved, but it's like I was a kid, so I didn't have the coin to really, you know what I'm saying? I didn't
Yeah.
have the coin to really, it's kind of like people who collect comic books as adults or Barbies or whatever the case may be. And it's you talk to them and they're like, oh, when I was a kid, like I collected books for a while because when I was a kid, it was either the library, actually, it was 90% the library. And then every once in a while, we'd go to the bookstore and we were allowed to get one book, like every once in a while. So when I got older, I became somewhat of a book collector because I was like, okay, now I can buy all the books that I want. You know, before when we were growing up, it was like your TV time is from
Oh my
7
God. TV
p.m.
time.
to 8 p.m. And on the weekends, you get Saturday morning cartoons, and then that's it. You got to go outside and play. Or like on Sundays, you get like 2 hours. So it's like we had to like choose, okay, what show we going to watch? Okay, are we watching Disney Channel? Are we watching Cartoon Network? Are we watching Nickelodeon? But my show is on. But it's TGI Fridays. It's TGIF on ABC. But it's this, but it's this. And we're like fighting. And now it's an adult. I'm like, I can go on Disney Plus and watch all the Lizzie McGuire episodes I need to. The whole entire like collection of Boy Meets World is on there. I'm about to watch it from beginning to end in order. Like, why take away these things from us? You know what I'm saying? Like, why come down on us for just enjoying ourselves? Like, that's what I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Now, Vina brings up a good point because y'all know I have a lot of kids around me. Like I have my godson who's 10 and my nephew who's 8. And y'all know I told you guys a couple of months ago that me, my godson, and his mom, my aunt, are all in a book club together. And his teacher had like a list of books that were on like their itinerary that they could, read outside of school. And one of the books was called like the Wednesday Wars. And it looked like a tween boy-ish type book. And it's about this boy who swears his teacher's out to get him. And every Wednesday he has to stay in. And they don't explain on the back of the book why. This isn't like a spoiler or anything for the book. It's a middle grade book. But the reason he has to stay in is because, first of all, this is taking place in like the 70s, which did not know. And half of the kids are going to Jewish school and the other half are going to Christian school in the middle of the Wednesday of the regular school. So, like at this time, the Jewish kids would go to their schooling and then the Catholics and other Christians would go to theirs. But he was neither. So he ended up being at school by himself in his class with his teacher. Thought, okay, no big deal. Maybe that's just a aspect of it. This book goes so deep into religion, the war at the time. And my godson was just like, this is so boring. I don't want to read it. I don't even understand what they're talking about. And if you don't have background knowledge on this war, on the issues between Jews and Catholics and Christians and all types of stuff, and there was a little kid, and I was just like, he does not know. Not saying he shouldn't learn about it, but the book wasn't marketed as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And I was just like,
kind of
how,
stuff
if he had background knowledge and all this stuff, like I have background knowledge on it. So I was feeling bad for the kid. I was just like, dang, that has to suck. And me and my mom were just like, oh, this pulling out my heartstrings. But Dakota is like,
this is
okay. Like I thought he was gonna be beefing with his teacher, but the teacher is normal. Like me as an adult knows the teacher is just like it's just a coincidence. You know, like you could be a kid, sometimes you think your teacher's out to get you and it's no big deal. But in Dakota's eyes, he's just like, is the teacher mean? Why is he yelling at his dad? Like, why is he like, it made no sense.
Saying that they made a middle grade book, produced it as middle grade, but it's grabbing your attention more than its intended audience, which is the problem.
I definitely feel like that's the problem with capitalism in general, though, because what's happening is because of Book Talk and Bookstagram and BookTube and just the overall online space that promotes books, what happens is you have adults reading middle grade and loving it and talking about it. And so the publishing companies are going to want to capitalize on that however they can. So they're going to pick up books that are not really middle grade, but they're marketed to middle grade because adults are reading middle grade. Like, you have to blame, to me, it's not really about the adults that are reading the middle grade books. It's about the publishing companies, and it's about the capitalistic nature of like how we get access to books and how books are made.
I also think there's a part of it that social media kind of attaches to, because like even with Percy Jackson becoming a TV series, you know, a lot of people that are watching Percy Jackson are older, and like logically speaking, Percy Jackson, the big reason Rick Riordan wanted it to stay with kids that are 13 and 14 and 15 and not going over that was because he was like, yeah, I want all of the old fans to still be able to have something, but I want new kids to be able to grip onto this. Like, I want middle schoolers right now to be able to watch this show and be like, I see myself in Percy. I see myself in Annabeth and Grover and whoever else. And the issue, I think, now becomes, because of a lot of social media, you know, even on TikTok, I'll see people doing like YA books. And I'm just like, that's not, someone being 16 in the book does not make it YA.
No.
I also think
the main character is just young.
Social media has got to stop, because social media will redefine something real quick, but it doesn't fit what they want it to fit. And that's why we have romantasy right now.
Oh, and don't get me started on that. They do not categorize that right.
I think also it's because we talk about, you know, kids being pushed out of their own demographic, but I don't even think they're being pushed out. I just don't think they have a demographic right now. Because we're all on like, why are we all on social media? Why am I on social media with an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and we all have access to the same content? We all have access to the same influencers, we all content creators, videos, ideas, trends. We all have access to the same. I remember when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, we had our own stuff. We had our own stores. We had our own magazines. We had our own clothes. We had our own shows. It was we had our own section in the library. Like, it was and we were the only ones in our section. We had our own things, and it was very clearly defined that, like, you are a child, then you are a tween. Remember tweens?
You have to have your ugly duckling stage.
And then you are a teen, and then you are a young adult, and then you are an adult. And there's stages to adulthood too. First, you are, you know, a baby adult. You're a college student, or you're working your way through, or whatever. And so I feel like the problem now is that it's not like kids are being edged out. It's just there's no place for them right now. We all are on the same platforms at the same times. We have access to the same information, the same trends, the same everything. So if I can watch a TikToker talk about, you know, YA books and romantasy and hockey romances, God forbid, so can an 11-year-old. Like, so can a 10-year-old. That's why they have skincare routines at 11.
The dermatologist.
Well, they are like crying on Christmas because they're getting Stanley Cups. Like, we all have access to the same stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So while, yes, I agree. Because I'm going to obviously bring this back to hobbies. I totally agree. Social media and publishing truly affect way that children's products are being marketed, because social media makes kids feel like they need to grow up faster. Publishing only cares about making money, so they're going to cater to the demographic that's buying it versus the demographic that wants their parents to buy it. But we've already talked about how crappy publishing is, so we're not surprised. I think the other issue, only other part is, because we're not like this, but there are groups of us in the no kids but we have money era that take it to this level where they feel like, because they're enjoying their nostalgia, that they have to still be centered in their nostalgia. Which is a perfect example, because Percy Jackson, some of us took Percy Jackson too serious.
The conversations that y'all were having in the group chat,
because they were so quaker. Like, I was like, these are children y'all are talking about. That's disgusting. Like, they are. There's always a problem. Go ahead, Troy.
I'm sorry, you broke up and I didn't realize you were still talking.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I literally just sent Brittany a screen cap of Walker, who plays Percy Jackson, responding to an adult posting that he came out, and he like commented, "Oh, that's news to me," and I was like,
"Yeah, girl, it was a fabricated tweet." I was like, "Are y'all okay? These are children."
I was like, Walker is like 14.
And they cast real kids. They're all real children.
Every person on that show is a child, except for the one that plays
the God.
18. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is minor.
And they're all real life minors. They're not just their characters.
Like, parents still have to be present when
they're in school on set.
Yeah. And it's like, this is what we be talking about. You can love, like, me and Troy talked about that Percy Jackson series every week. We almost did a podcast special just to talk about the episodes every week. But also, we were cringing at some of the other millennials and how they were responding to it. Like, I saw one where it was this whole thing about how Luke's character is so fine. And I was like, Luke's character is a child. You are in your 30s. That is a child. Like, again, enjoy your nostalgia, but like
is 12-year-old me like crying somewhere, like knowing that she's watching Black Annabeth? Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely, she's crying somewhere. But I'm not now. Like, am I happy for like the younger generation? Like, I can't sit here and say that watching Percy Jackson is like mind changing for me, because I know I won't get the nostalgia from watching this show that I got as a 12-year-old reading Percy Jackson for the first time. I'm just not going to do it. I was in love with Percy Jackson. He was like my book boyfriend, like when there was one, back when I was a kid and everything. But I'm like almost 30 now. Like, I'm watching these kids and I'm just like, oh, this is hitting my heart a little bit.
Look at my little babies on screen doing so well. Like, that is
I'm just like, y'all do the damn thing. Like, but it's not anything. And adding on to that, it's also like, and I'm going to say it, it's going to be a bit of a call out, not anyone specific, but just in a general sense, is that I hate watching booktubers and book talkers or any book social media, and they'll get on to these sites and be like, can we please get adult books but written in YA? Do y'all get what I'm saying? I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
I don't get it. What does that mean?
Also, hold on. That genre exists. It's called new adult.
It's called new adult, girl.
That's what I'm talking about. We as the book social media community need to stop redefining stuff just because we choose not to look past what we normally look at. Like, baby, if you don't get on Google and search new books outside of your genre, like, did you really say you want adult character?
I don't want somebody 35 acting 16.
Basically, what they want is they want the lack of boundaries that would happen in an adult book, right? Because adults have autonomy. They don't need parents. They don't need permission slip signed. They're not, but they want that same vibe of independence and adulthood and lack of certain boundaries, but in a YA book. And that is very disturbing.
It's so disturbing.
I mean, also, they should just pick up a fantasy book written by a man and we'll get that. Am I wrong?
Sagittarius is here. Sagittarius is here.
Not ready. I was
They
not
will
ready
get a
for you to just shoot
16-year-old
a-
assassin
You're clearly shooting blanks,
king
sis.
or
Wow.
queen or whatever, and there'll be no boundaries. She'll be doing adult things.
Their favorite little pixie girl. No, that's really what it is. They're like those pixie type girls. They're like teenagers. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Expound.
Oh my God. The pixie with the spicy attitude.
Yep.
Expound your genres, people. You can read something besides where it says 12 to 16 years old.
Looking at you, looking for Alaska.
Mm.
See, I gotta know this. Notice I wasn't the one being shady this time. That was both of you. That was not me. I haven't yet to make a comment.
Had to put that out there.
Saying everything that they're looking for already exists. They just need to step out of the, just because the book says for 12 to 16 years doesn't mean that it's automatically for you, like expound your boundaries, like go to the other sections in the bookstore. Like,
this is going to be very sad for some people. Like, be comfortable stepping out of the New York 100 bestseller list or the ones that the publishers push for. Like, if you stepped out of that, you would see a whole new genre, a whole new section of good books.
It's a whole new world out there.
Back on my booktube days, I remember I did this video where I were talking about like unpopular opinions or something like that, and I hit a nerve because in the video I said something along the lines of the reason you can't find anything is because your Kindle is recommending what you read. People did not like that.
My Kindle knows I'm unhinged.
Your Kindle does recommend some off the wall stuff.
Every unhinged, independently published book that exists, I have been recommended. Trust. So if I want to read something outside of that,
I know for a fact your Kindle is lit. I know your Kindle is lit. Your Kindle be like, oh, you're done reading that one. Well, let me show you some other ones that match this crazy shit that you like to read. Oh my God. But now, again, that's what I'm saying. It's like, enjoy what you enjoy, but please be cognizant of the way that you're choosing to enjoy it. Because you should not be sitting here trying to redefine stuff. Again, I'm going back to romantasy because I'm still mad at the book community as a whole for accepting that as a name to create a new genre of fantasy. It already existed in fantasy. We did not need another section just because a lot of y'all don't understand that getting an assassin that doesn't kill anybody but all of a sudden is weak and fragile for a man is one of the worst tropes ever written in a fantasy story. But now that you call it romantasy, now it's supposed to be, oh my God, this is no. Stop redefining stuff because you're too lazy to go look for the stuff that already exists.
And then also, it doesn't correlate with their definition. Their definition is like the basis of the book is a romance, but with fantasy elements. But then they'll recommend me this long ass trilogy. I'm just like, there's like 5 minutes of spice in this one book.
Oh my God.
This is a fantasy.
The spice is like a green pepper. Not even like the romance. It's like green pepper.
Label, the romantasy label is just another way for publishers to market books.
Yeah.
Because they know if they put romance, if you walk into Barnes and Nobles, you're gonna see a table that says romantasy, and it's gonna have
that
a
and books recommended.
Yep.
On it. And that is just because they know that that is a buzzword. They know that once they put that title on something, there's a large group of readers that will be running to purchase those books because they already have an idea in their mind, whether those books fit the criteria or not, they have an expectation there. And so they are selling those books off of the expectation. It's just another marketing tool. And it's a great one. But for me, I feel like the romantasy books are all the same. They're all like basically an enemies to lovers story about a kingdom and a dark prince and a girl who didn't know she was powerful and had powers or something. And
I'm like, why don't y'all just admit that y'all just want Twilight, but a little bit better?
Yeah.
That's really what y'all be asking for.
There's always a kidnapping. There's certain things that always happen in these books. It's very rope by numbers. Like, is she in a dungeon somewhere? Check. Is he sitting in a room with a whole bunch of other elves, but he's the hottest elf there? Check.
Oh my God! Don't forget, he also has the emotional intelligence of a lima bean.
Of a lima
Because
bean.
all of the men never can communicate. Like, I just want people to know, like, it's okay to have a romance with magical elements.
Yes.
Like, that's in the romance genre already. Like,
it already exists.
Leave it there. Leave the fantasy realm where it's supposed to be. If there are fantasies where two people actually get together, we're also okay with that, and it's still a fantasy.
It's kind of like I recently finished Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I went to go put it in.
Talk about that.
Yeah, and I really went to go put it on my story graph, and the amount of things people tag under these books,
I'm scared
for what they consider them. Like, Storygraph gives you that option that's like romantically heart-wrenching or stuff like that. Yeah. And so I was looking at some of the things that people put, and I'm just like, this is maybe a Storygraph should think about redoing this, because some of the things that they put down make zero sense. Like because you can personalize the tag for it. What you say, Brittany?
When you hover over the tag, it should have a definition from now on.
Yeah.
Because I think the problem is a lot of people don't understand the genres that already exist, and they don't understand the definitions behind the genre. So instead, they're creating their own buzzwords, which is why we have so many words that don't fit. I'm like, you guys are stressing me out.
Because like someone put like it was romantically heart-wrenching, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know about heart-wrenching. It really wasn't.
Heart-wrenching is a very specific.
That's super specific. I was like, it wasn't heart-wrenching. I don't just mean like, oh, that's person by person. Nothing particularly happens in Happy Place that's heart-wrenching. Everything that has happened that was sad happens before current events of the book. So I'm just like, oh, see, y'all in these buzzwords. Can y'all I just ignored it. I was like, you know what? Moving on.
It's like I was like, this, if I wanted to ever talk about like a major problem with the book social community, it would be our redefinition of words, because it's ruining so many things that people who read outside of the popular books notice that these are problems. The people who stay within what publishing is pushing, they're not noticing this, because they're literally reading the same books over and over again. Like,
it's irony, because we are a community of readers, and yet people misuse words all the time. Constantly. And I think it's just going along with this trend where right now on social media, content creators love to name things and start trends. It's all about starting a trend and trying to go viral.
Cozy gaming, soft girl life.
Brittany is going to kill whoever came up with cozy gaming.
I don't think y'all understand. Like, I have been operating in this cozy gaming realm for my whole life. But if I understand social media is a marketing place. So because I understand, I look at social media as a marketing tool rather than like something to enjoy my life with, I understand why these are the way that they are. I just would love a specifically book community to understand the power of our words. We're reading all of these words and not understanding the power of our own words. I mean, then taking the words of girls who've only read Colleen Hoover is a whole problem in itself. So
it's kind of the same reason why people like book hauls, but they don't like book reviews, right? It's the aesthetic of reading, the vibes of being a reader, the book collecting versus the book reading, the book reviewing, the understanding of the book, the being able to break down the book, critically discuss the book. Like, I've watched book reviews and taken away something from the review and been like, okay, this was great. And then I go down into the comments.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And people are like, I don't understand why you would review this book if you hated it so much. And the creator didn't hate the book. They were just critically reviewing it. They were talking about the things they liked, the things they didn't like. They were talking about their favorite moments, the moments they didn't like as much. Like an actual regular book review. Like when we used to stand in front of the class in third grade and give a book report. Yeah. What was this book about? Who were the main characters? What was the height of the book? What was the low moments? What did you like? What did you not like? Like very simple abacadabra shit. And you in the comments, people are like, I just don't understand why you would recommend this book. It sounds like you hated it. Sounds like you didn't like it. And I'm just like, is there a disconnect?
Yes.
Just because you're not holding up the book being like,
Yes.
this is amazing. Oh my gosh, the vibes in this book were so good. Like, chef's kiss. Next book. Oh my goodness, this one. And I'm just like,
I think that
what is
it's
going on?
easier for them to swallow the consumerism side of book talk or the book community when the book community was originally created to review books. Because if you notice, the biggest people of all of the platforms for the book world are the ones that are focused on the consumerism side, not the actual, here's the books that I read. Because if we were focusing on here's the books that I read and here's what I thought, people like Bookish Realm would be like the top person of the book community because of the sheer amount of books that she reads and reviews.
That's true. That's true.
Like, that's not who's up though. Who's up? The people that buy all of the pretty books and
my favorite, reading every book that Kendall Jenner has featured on her Instagram.
Oh yeah, those are so popular.
Hadid has ever mentioned, reading every book that Kylie has ever just pointed at in a photo. Like, I'm just like, what is going on?
First of all, did not even realize that Kylie has ever mentioned a book. Say that.
Apparently she has.
But yeah, again, it's a consumerism. The consumerism is what gets more attention rather than the actual part of like, we like to talk about books. And even me, I'm not a critical reviewer. I would never label myself as a critical reviewer of books. But when I do talk about the books that I read, I do like to be like, I wasn't really feeling this book for X, Y, and Z, or I love this book for X, Y, and Z, or this book did not slap like I thought it was going to. And like, I'm just confused. Well, I'm not confused. I'm very aware of the world that we live in right now and the fact that a lot of these, especially as I call it, the new COVID book social media people, because, we got a very high influx of them after COVID. I have not seen too many of them actually review books. I've seen them rate stars, do star ratings, but I've never seen them actually like talk about why they liked the book or why they didn't. Or when they talk about what they liked, and I'm going to use Legendborn as an example. I know everybody is not a fan of Legendborn. But what I noticed with Legendborn when the girlies got it, you know what they focused on? The love triangle between the main character and the two white men. Yeah. And I was like, is it a love triangle? Like, did we read the same book? Because I don't know.
I knew you were going to say that.
What was about. Y'all have turned it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's power in the words. But now all of these people are reading it because it's supposed to be a love triangle. And I'm like,
I hate that too, because again, I feel sorry, y'all. Jackie's down here hyperventilating.
Jackie.
I feel like, especially with the whole like labeling romance tropes and stuff like that, is it'll be like Brittany says, it'll be a love triangle. I'm like, is it a love triangle if there was never any real chance that one of them was going to get hurt? Like,
I am so sorry. Anytime someone defines a love triangle incorrectly, it burns my insides because a love triangle is literally
love triangles is the way I step on a soapbox about romanticy. Same vibes.
A love triangle is where there's love on all three sides. So the only proper type of love triangle is if it's two brothers who like each other, okay? They're not sworn enemies. They're not trying to kill each other. Two brothers who like each other fall from the same girl, and the girl likes both of them. That is a love triangle, people. There is love on all three sides. That is what makes it agonizing. That's what makes it horrible. If a girl is dating a dude and he goes off to war and then she falls in love with the daddy, that is a love triangle, people. There is love on all three sides. Like Pearl Harbor, the movie.
Pearl Harbor.
That was a love triangle.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Stop defining it.
But again, they keep doing this. And so books that should be hailed as great books are actually getting shit on by like the popular book community because they went in because they heard it was this, which was clearly false advertising. And then they get the book and now everybody's talking bad about the book. And this isn't even the fault of the author. This is all publishing and social media's fault.
Yes.
So now it's like, well, your book flopped. We don't want to support you. But it's like, Why did it flop?
Mm-hmm.
Because you advertised it as Nigerian mythology when it had nothing to do with that at all. Like,
Yes.
why did it flop, sir?
Yes. It's irresponsible. I mean, I
It
will
is.
say, to be fair, that this type of content and this kind of misuse of wording would not be so prevalent if there wasn't an audience for it, unfortunately, if people weren't consuming this content and liking it. And it's like content creators make more of the type of content that people consume, right? You go, you see where you're most liked, you're most watched, you're most, whatever it is, the most engagement until you recreate that content. Same thing with like romantasy, using buzzwords like romantasy that don't really mean anything. I mean, those types of videos with those tags get a lot of clicks, get a lot of views, get a lot of engagement. So it's like the bad behavior is being rewarded. So it's like I can blame the content creators, but I also can't, because there's clearly an audience for this and it's being consumed. Like, it's not just like going out into the void and nobody cares. People are consuming the content and are interested and it's like we're part of the problem. We are part of the
Yes,
problem.
Yeah.
we are.
It's funny because we're talking about hobbies and nostalgia. I always get people to ask me like my favorite stationery supplies I use for journaling, and I did a video where I talked about my favorite stationery supplies, and someone asked me, I don't know how I did not put this in, but I didn't put down what I like use to like glue stuff down, so what types of glues and tape and stuff. But someone asked me in the comments, and I was just like, oh, I use basic, kids glue sticks and tacky glue I get from the dollar store because I'm broke. LOL. I was like, I don't use glue tape because to me it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Someone caught such an attitude with me because I said glue tape was expensive. I was just like, glue tape is expensive. It's expensive and it's expensive and it does not last long.
I used a little the 99-cent purple glue from Elmer's does the job
That's what I use. Like I have like Amazon sells like a 30 pack of them, and I buy them and I have them for a whole year. And I was just like, glue tape is expensive. I'm not buying Muji brand glue tape because it's Muji. Like, it's just not happening. Like, that's just capitalism getting you, because there is no reason that you cannot use an Elmer's glue stick, especially for people who don't have the money to do it. All you're doing is watching some other creator on TikTok or YouTube like slide and glide with the glue tape or with the Muji brand or Hobonichi brand stuff, and then you go out and buy it. But those things are expensive. First of all, they're being sent from another country, so you're gonna have to pay for that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here buying. People always ask me like, oh, but you buy such cheap journaling supplies, does it really work? I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not for work. Okay, I'm not in school. This is for my own enjoyment. So I'm not letting capitalism have my room be a damn Japanese stationery store just because I think something's cute. Like, it's not happening.
When I go to Japan, I will be coming back with a suitcase full of those things. That's when I go to Japan.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that Black woman creator that went viral because she has these videos where she just has all these gadgets that like no one's ever seen before they watched her video?
No.
I don't know what her name is, but she's on TikTok and she literally went viral because she literally has like every gadget you could possibly imagine. She was like, what I have in my purse, and like everything had a little like organizer, like from her, like her earbuds had a place for it to go, like a little cute little organizer. And like she had like, like little blotting papers and they went into a little organizer. And like,
I don't know why, but this is giving me anxiety.
There was literally an organizer, and her whole house is like this. Her whole entire house, like you go into her bathroom, there's these little like gadgets and little cute little odds and doodads and things. And I was like, I've never seen that in my life. Like, she literally has like a little latte maker, and then she has a little ice thing maker. Then she has like a little, it's incredible. I will have to tag you on one of her videos because she went viral for like having all these cutesy little things. And then apparently she makes the types of videos that she makes because apparently people who have like anxiety enjoy watching her videos, because it's like part ASMR, part just like her like unzipping and zipping and organizing and cleaning and doing all these things. And she makes cleaning videos too.
Her name is Nikki, isn't it?
I don't know her name. She's just this Black lady, and she just has like all these, like her videos are so aesthetic. But then people started bashing her because they said that she was promoting consumerism because she had all these little gadgets, and people kept asking her like, "Oh my God, where did you get like that Q-tip holder? Like, oh my God, where did you get like that lip gloss like magnifier? Like just weird shit they wouldn't think existed." And she literally had to
I don't know
come
what to
out.
say. Again,
And then this white woman made a YouTube video all about her, not in a mean way, not in a malicious way, but just talking about
oh,
consumerism, and used her as an example. And then she had to come out and say, wait a darn minute. She was like, this is my life. This is my self-care. This is how I choose to enjoy myself. I've worked really, really hard for everything that I have.
you know
And
what? That's
I'm not telling anybody that they need to go out and buy these things just because I'm showing them. I'm literally just answering questions when people ask me, where did you get that? Because she doesn't, because some creators will like link stuff or like have
Right.
like a store or something. She doesn't really do that. She just kind of uses the stuff, and people are like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. Like, I didn't even know that existed. Like, where did you get that? And so she literally had to come out and just be like, this is literally my self-care, my hobby. Like, I enjoy having odds and ends and didobs and this and that. And she was just like, I'm not promoting consumerism. This is literally for me. And I think there is also that side of like hobbying, I guess you could call it, an enjoyment, where when you are putting your enjoyment online, like you with your journaling, Troy, people make all these assumptions about you, and then
Yes.
are just like, oh, you're promoting this. And you may have never said any of this ever in any content you've ever made, but then there are all these assumptions that are projected onto you because of whatever issues the audience has personally, they project, right? So you kind of become this billboard for insecurities and this and that and this. And she
Yes.
literally had to come out and be like, I have depression. I have anxiety. This is how I heal myself.
And
This
funny
is
you
how
said that,
I
'cause
heal my child.
I was gonna say, like, to me, that's a lot. And I have generalized anxiety disorder, so I could not imagine sitting down and doing all that. But I imagine people with like OCD and what's that one um uh personality disorder where you're like obsessively clean too, but it's not OCD. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it's a personality disorder you can have, and it's like to the point where you cannot take certain things. I imagine those things are probably really helpful for people like that. But like you said, outside of that, like, I understand that when I'm on TikTok and I'm putting stuff out, I get people constantly to ask me like a billion questions all the time. And I'm not upset about that. I'm fine with answering them. But sometimes I do in the back of my head go, oh my God, this is gonna sound terrible. But I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna buy this journal and my journal is gonna be expensive now.
To be fair, the way that I be thinking maybe I should gatekeep my stuff so the price doesn't go up.
I think about that.
Remember when they found that what was the thing we used to that we were using and they found it and like the price just like skyrocketed?
Was it the sprocket?
Oh, it was a sprocket. I've never recovered. The way that the sprocket was a place in my heart, and then TikTok got a hold of it.
Let me just say,
all of the mini printers too.
There is this one creator that I have beef with. I do not know his name, but he's on TikTok. But he has made it so whenever I go to Aldi's, I can never find anything.
I know who you're talking about.
He reviews, he like finds stuff at Aldi's, reviews them. The stuff that the people who shop at Aldi's, we knew about these things.
Right? I know exactly what you're talking
about. But
we
kept it to ourselves. We went, we bought it, it was in stock, we kept it to ourselves. But no. He had to start a TikTok account all about Aldi's. Go get these, y'all. Go get these, y'all. Now, whenever
the tagline is always, food isn't expensive. You just don't shop at Aldi. I'm like, no.
I just want
now.
What's the other one?
Aldi's. All the things that we like are always out of stock.
Man.
We can never find them ever because if you.
It's so many products in my house that I used to use that TikTok has like shared the secret, and now it's like now I gotta buy it in bulk when I see it, or like just try to change to something else, because that's like I've been gatekeeping my finishing spray because I'm like praying TikTok never learns about this finishing spray, because
TikTok got wind of
by a case, huh?
TikTok got wind of Kiss press-on nails.
They did. They did.
No, man, don't save my life.
Here's the problem. I feel like because people now can make content out of their hobbies, right? A hobby used to be a private endeavor. Yeah, there are a couple hobbies that you did with your friends, you know, maybe like a book club or like scrapbooking. I don't know, you don't scrapbook with people, but knitting. No, you don't knit with people. What's a good one that you do with
You
people?
can.
Ultimate
Birthday
frisbee.
parties.
Ultimate
Yep.
frisbee. There we go. Like, there's a couple hobbies. I'm just saying that require other people involvement, but a lot of hobbies are private. Like, you read on your own, you might, you know, sew on your own and your sewing machine, like whatever the case may be. You garden. Most people garden alone. Like, people have found out that there's this whole other world where you can put your hobbies online and there are people that are interested to watch. Then they're like, oh my God, I want to garden too. Oh, what plant is that? Oh, how did you do that? Well, how did you grow that? Oh my gosh, like, how did you make those pants? Well, where's the pattern for that? So people have realized that their hobbies can be monetized.
Yeah.
And they can actually make a living just doing their hobby if they monetize it. I think the issue that comes along with that is, like you said, all of those gatekeeper type things, all of those things that were just private for you and the other people and that also enjoy gardening and whatnot, that knew about like the things that were like in the inner sanctum of the people that enjoyed those things, okay, have now been broadcasted to the world. And so now what you get is you get people that aren't genuinely even interested in that hobby. Like, people now hobby hop
Yeah.
because they watch a creator and they're like, I think I too want to make stick figures out of popsicle sticks for 2 weeks. And then you change your mind. Meanwhile, the popsicle sticks have gone up. Like,
You know what's so funny about Shalay saying that though is that I literally will tell people, like, I put this on TikTok once and people were just like, no, you can do it. I literally put in like a comment of my own. I was just like, I'm not this level of delusional. There are some things I cannot do. Okay. There are some hobbies that I know are not for me. Like,
just watch you do it.
Yeah.
I already know I'm money to do that.
Because what kills me is you had a couple girls during lockdown who decided that they were going to stop going to the nail salon because, you know, the nail salons were closed. So they're going to learn how to do their own nails. So what did they do? They put it on TikTok. They put it on YouTube. They put it on Instagram and started teaching the girlies how to do their own nails. Then before you knew it, the good drills were gone. Nail techs were like, bro, I can't find the drills that I need. Y'all buying up acetone like it's water. Y'all buying up this. Y'all buying up that.
No, but you know what? Speaking of the nail thing, you know what also ended up happening is that I see a lot of people now that the high of doing your own nails is coming down, people are all of a sudden realizing they're like allergic to stuff, or that there's a reason nail techs are nail techs and why you shouldn't do it at home. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Oh, and the large amount of people that all of a sudden became resin makers.
Oh my God.
But not like actually taking the precautions with resin.
Yes.
And so now they're having issues. And I'm like, well, baby, you was out here making resin dice with no mask, no ventilation, no gloves. Like, what did you think?
I was like putting on lip gloss in one of my TikTok stories one day, and someone goes, oh my God, that is so cute. Which, like, I guess they thought it was like an Etsy shop or something that I got it from. I said, girl, it's from the beauty supply. This is 99¢. Like, I don't do.
Don't ever say that on TikTok ever again, because if I walk into my beauty supply store and I see somebody non-us in there, I'm rioting.
You probably won't, because they like the expensive lip gloss.
Listen, the sanctity of the beauty supply store has been breached, and the reason I know
it has
is because I went to work and I mentioned the beauty supply store, and there was no glazed look. There was a look of understanding. There was a look of like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew.
No, you know what else is not sacred?
What?
Bonnets. I follow this gym girl.
Oh, girl, bonnets been gone.
Whoa, don't get me started on that.
But to be fair, in the 1950s, white women wore bonnets.
They did.
They had their roller sets. They had their bouffants.
But the 1950s was how many years ago?
Not to mention, don't I get called ghetto for bonnets?
Don't we? Aren't we not supposed to go to the dentist office with bonnets on?
Aren't we supposed to, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe you would walk out with, no, sis, keep that same energy. Stay out my beauty supply store. That is a Black space. I do not care. Call me race. I don't care what you want to call me. The beauty supply store is for us and us only. No, because I love my little beauty supply store clear lip gloss. That has been my staple for my whole life.
I know. I always buy beauty supply lip gloss for all of my coworkers.
That's all mine are. Unless someone, like, I have people buy me expensive lip glosses, and I have them, but I'm just like, you know, I wear them. Like, I wear the Ulta lip gloss I think I really like, but
yeah,
other than that, I just go to the beauty supply.
The beauty supply store has all the best makeup. Mm-hmm. Ruby Kisses, Chef's Kiss.
Yes,
Chef's Kiss. I hope they're before they go bankrupt.
I will say, because Miss WOC Reader is right. Like, if I buy like a lipstick or something and it's from like the Lip Bar, or if it's from like an indie Black-owned company, I'm not gatekeeping that. That's when I'm like, oh girl, I got this from back before Juvia's Place became big. When I first bought that first eyeshadow, I'm like, oh my God, I bought this. It's online. It's called Juvia's Place. Like, you got to go get it. I shout out Black-owned businesses, but I will gatekeep the hell out of beauty supply store things.
I'm pretty sure Brittany's realized.
I don't remember. It's old. I'm not.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I'm not answering those questions. I absolutely refuse. No.
I don't remember is nasty work.
That's nasty work.
I don't care. I do not care.
You know what else? I know what I use though. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It was a gift.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a gift. And not
I get stuff from the beauty supply store all the time.
That is hilarious.
I know Brittany probably realized this, but ever since I hit 10K on TikTok, I like aggressively like repost her stuff. And like when I take pictures in my, because one of her stickers are on my notebook, I like aggressively put in the comments, oh,
aggressively.
The sticker
is real smooth. And I'll be like, girl, you're not slick.
I love it.
I don't get followers and stuff. Like I've already just recognized this for what it is. I don't get followers because my art, though it's colorful and pretty, it's very Black.
I was about to say there's Black
people. I get comments and DMs and stuff all the time asking me to make white versions of things.
Oh, really?
And my response to them is, can you make you Black? And then you don't have to ask for white things.
But the shop is
I don't ever expect to get. That doesn't matter. They're not centered. Therefore, they are bold enough to ask why they are not centered because they're so used to being centered. Yeah. I've even had, and this is to me, one of the last vending events I went to, it was this girl. She was pretty. She was a light-skinned girl. She was like, oh my gosh, you do different skin tones. She looks at the light-skinned girl and she goes, she's not light enough for me. And I was like,
the lightest girl you got is kind of light though.
Again, when you're used to being like the center or like the pretty or like the one that everybody strives for, you expect to see you in everything. And when you don't, you start picking out when it's not ready for you. Because I had that happen multiple times at my last show. And also, I just have one thing. I have to segue this. Dear the Black community as a whole, especially those older than us, millennials and below really take pride in their love of things, love and nostalgia. The nerd world has finally started recognizing Black people exist in the space. It's still toxic as hell, but we're finally being able to talk about it and not feel the type of way. If you see me at a show, at a booth, and you say, oh, it's colorful, it's pretty, and you walk up, if the next words out of your mouth is, oh, this is supposed to be for adults? I thought this was for kids. Feel free to just never come up to my booth ever again. I had a lady call my art childish. I yeeted my Apple Pencil into her eyeball. And I was like, this girl is literally like in a twerk position. What do you mean this was for kids? Like, please. But that's literally like, and she asked me, why did I start doing this? And I was like, well, I'm a nerd. I can draw. I love fantasy. And we are not represented in fantasy correctly. We're always the side characters. We're never the main characters. And I was like, as of recently, we finally started getting books where we are the main characters, finally. I was like, but when I started this in 2017, we still hadn't really started making waves yet.
Yeah.
So this is just me making art to say that we are the forefront, and like we are the forefront of like every variety of Black that we could possibly be. Like we are the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I think this is a good message for kids.
She was standing on business that day.
She was not. My God. That's so embarrassing.
Listen, I was just like, because I really wanted to yell at her, because I was like, it's older people like you that try to shun us for like living our lives. And like, yes, girl, this is a hobby. Or like one of the guys, he was at the table. He was clearly a nerd because he walked by one of the painting or one of my art things. And he was like, she think like my wife. I want her. Like, oh. Then he's like, what inspired you to do this? I was like, oh, this picture was made with Bakugo, a bull because it's Taurus, and da-da-da-da. So we start having this whole anime conversation. He's
That's
like
amazing.
43 years old, I think.
That's awesome.
He's 43. And so he's like, yeah, my son just mentioned to me that he wants to watch One Piece. He's like, so I bought us t-shirts for our first night of One Piece. Like, you know, all this stuff. And I'm just like,
it's a long anime to watch.
First of all, that is a commitment I'm never going to make. Ever.
Wait, didn't they make a live action movie of that?
Yes.
Yes, girl. They only made the first live action because they've got 1,000-something episodes to go through.
I keep seeing that pop up on my Netflix, and I'm just like, no, decline.
Well, the thing was, his wife was like, she was like, oh my gosh, you watch that childish stuff too? I was like,
I just want us to break ourselves free from the shackles of
childish.
Like, not even just childish, but the shackles of thinking that if you like something past a certain age, that it's childish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still love stuffed animals as an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still love stickers. I still love everything that I loved as a child. I still love Barbies. I still love dolls. Like everything I loved as a kid, I still love. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to just stop liking it just because somebody says that I'm supposed to.
There's no reason to not like it. It makes me happy. We deserve happiness.
I deserve people to literally relive their childhood through their kids. Like I know adults who love buying stuff for their kids that they loved, and it's because they have been convinced that it's childish, and so they feel like they need to let it go, and so now they're trying to recapture it and re-experience it through their children. Adults do that all the time. They be taking their kids to the playground, and then before you know it, they on the swings. Like, I can go higher than you. Like, I mean, come on,
literally, excuse me. Literally, when I was in high school, I would always know when my baby brother would come over because I would hear like Disney Channel on. And one day I heard the Phineas and Ferb theme song. And I was like, oh, E must be here. So I ran downstairs and I'm calling his name, but no one answers. And my dad goes, your brother's at his mom's house. And I was just like, who's watching Phineas and Ferb? He goes, me. I know the whole theme song. And I started busting out laughing. I was just like, oh, okay. So we sat there and watched Phineas and Ferb together. Like,
I love that.
Like,
enjoy what you enjoy without shame, without being made to feel any type of way. Like, I am so sorry, but it's giving me, you can't have ice cream for breakfast. Yes, I can.
You can't have ice cream for breakfast.
Not to mention, I can have Oreos and wine for dinner.
Yes. I enjoy what I enjoy.
Also, let me ask you something for real. Logically speaking, what little kid under the age of 18 do y'all know can be buying half the shit that these places have merch for?
No, because like that's been a running joke. It's like because we don't have kids, like the birth rate is dropping down because our generation has just decided it's already expensive living with us. Like having children is like not only an expense, but like a really serious decision that like we're just not going to take lightly. And so it's like, think about it. Like, for example, when I was younger, because I lived in Japan when I was younger. So when I was younger, when Pokemon first like became a thing, there was this one store in Japan. It was right upstairs from the 100 yen store, which was another store I loved. But they had the Snorlax, the gigantic Snorlax. When I tell you I wanted it with every fiber of my being, And my mother was like, absolutely not. No.
Parents were crushing our dreams as kids. Let me tell you what. They were crushing those dreams hard.
I want y'all to know, I saw the Snorlax thing pop up on my Instagram the other day. I did not care how much it was going to cost. I immediately went to it, clicked the link, went to it. It was already sold out. Why? Because other people my age have been told no when they were younger. And I saw the price. I think it was like $150. I don't care. I was going to buy that Snorlax.
I know.
I don't have it.
You will. You will get it one day.
It's funny you said that because, like, when I was young, like, my favorite Pokemon was Squirtle, and I always wanted something Squirtle-ish, but my parents were always just like, what are you going to do with that? Like, no. So I never had anything like that, and we had to share a Game Boy, so, you know, we were, like, hopping around with different... Is that your face on Oshalay's face?
It is. I was like, what? Not my own face shocking me, okay?
I couldn't keep talking. I was like, wait.
I'm so sorry. I need to go off camera for a second, and then
y'all on the same account.
That
I think so. Like,
I think Brittany, your picture is the default picture.
Oh. Woo! I mean, that really threw me off. I was like, "Hello, me."
Okay. You know what though? Okay. Going back to nostalgia, do y'all know what I have been loving? Well, y'all know what I've been loving recently that I've been watching. But I have been binging the newer version of Babysitter's Club, and I was just like, you know what? I really want to watch the movie. So I watched the movie, and I was just like, it was giving me so much nostalgia because I used to love the Babysitter's Club. I used to watch the movie over and over and over again. I could never find the old TV show because, you know, when we were younger, it wasn't as accessible to do.
Oh my gosh. Like I found the old TV show on YouTube.
Really?
Yes. It's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Adding that to my list of Babysitter's Club. I was so sad, though, when I was binge watching Babysitter's Club and I even hit the group chat. I was like, oh, this show isn't on anymore.
When I found out they canceled it, the roar of rage that I let out in my living room.
Not to mention, season 2 was so good.
It was so good. So good.
I was so sad. I was just like, dang it. Because I started Anne and Green Gate, Anne with an E. And I was like,
show, I can't get into it.
Everyone I've talked to told me to get past like the first season, and I was just like, but there's only 3 seasons.
Also, the girl who plays Anne is insufferable. Like,
wait, I gotta get through a whole season to like it? That don't sound right.
But she is absolutely like, I know Anne is like whimsical and a little like oddball, but she plays her so unironically, like she you know what it is? She plays Anne like she is on stage in a theatrical production where you literally have to act big for the person in the back. Like that's what every theater teacher will tell you, like act big because the person all the way in the back has to see you. But she on TV though. I just can't.
Anne of Green Gables wasn't something that I was like super into as a kid, but people kept on saying they loved it, and I tried.
I'm a huge fan.
I watched 2 episodes in January. Haven't picked it back up.
Exactly. It is March 10th. So no.
It's just like, not a fan.
No.
But anyway, but yeah, I've been like really on my nostalgia like hype because like I told you guys, my New Year's resolution was no binging anything over the weekdays. So my weekends are just like filled with me binge watching stuff. And Babysitter's Club, I've been loving it, and I've been rewatching Charmed.
Oh, I love rewatching Charm. I rewatch Charm like every couple years.
Me too. I love it so much.
Like Charmed and One Tree Hill and Gilmore Girls and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air are my most rewatched shows.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I feel that.
I've never seen Gilmore Girls, and I'm okay with that.
I feel like
feel
it's. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it's like for a particular type of people to watch
I
Gilmore
was
Girls.
gonna say, Brittany, that show was not for you.
Oh, I know.
A big part of the reason, though, like I will say this though, I feel like had I never watched Gilmore Girls as a kid, it would have never interested me as an adult. Like I probably
feel
wouldn't
the
have
same
watched
way.
it as an adult, but because it like has so much nostalgia for me, because I would come home and watch it with my maternal grandmother and my maternal aunt, and we would just like sit there and like every single one we would watch. So it's such a nostalgic feeling for me to watch Gilmore Girls, and all year round, like it's like background noise. Like Parks and Recreation and Gilmore Girls are like background noise for me. I'll turn on the shows and they'll just be in my background.
Mine
Real
is Living
gross.
Single and The Golden Girls
I knew you were gonna say Living Single.
because those are my two.
Maturity, though, is realizing that every single character on Gilmore Girls, with the exception of Luke and his diner, because yes, that diner was a character, is complete trash.
Yeah.
In their own way.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't even need maturity to see that because I've never even seen an episode and I can pinpoint each one of their flaws.
And you know what's really interesting to me about Gilmore Girls specifically is that there was like when the pandemic happened, I guess people started binge watching it, and people who like had never seen it, especially because you know they rebooted it and they gave you what would have been the original last episode in this reboot because the writers, if you don't know, they ended up leaving. So the whole last season was written by somebody else. You can definitely tell. But anyway, so people started binge watching it, and there was this like bandwagon hate for Rory, which is the daughter. And now, granted, season 3 and up Rory is insufferable, absolutely insufferable.
Yes.
But something I find interesting that no one ever talks about is that she's insufferable because of her mother. Like,
yes.
She's insufferable because her mom wanted more so to be her best friend than to be her mom. That's why they had so many issues coming up, and that's why she was such a spoiled brat. One of my favorite scenes in all of Gilmore Girls is when she's dating Logan and Jess comes back. I am team Logan. I like Jess, but I think he had a lot of maturing to do. But when Jess comes back and he like calls her out on it, like what was she doing? And he's like the only person that ever like relatively even told her about herself, because she was consistently insufferable. But I'm just like, she was insufferable because literally no one told her that the world not revolve around her.
Yeah, the whole world did revolve around her. That's the problem. Like even her friends couldn't have their own lives. She felt like she was the center of her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like poor Lane trying to just live under the pressure of having Seventh-day Adventists for parents. What her parents Seventh-day Adventists? Wasn't that what they were? They were some religious group where she couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It might be that.
Her mama was on her for literally everything. I think they were 7-day, or they were something like that. And
white girls.
She's just trying to live. And here come Rory with her little problems. I was like, oh God, making everything about her.
But it does take a particular type of person to watch Gilmore Girls. And I acknowledge that. I don't mind, but I'm not the person who, if you dislike something that I like, it's not going to ruin my day, sweetie. It's okay.
That too. That's something else. It's okay to like what you like, but bullying somebody because they don't like your faves is also something that we got to let go, because it's the way that I always crack jokes about Friends. And one time I commented, because sometimes I comment on things on TikTok. They were showing a Friends episode, and I was like, oh, that's literally season 2, episode 2 of Living Single, which came before Friends, because they were mad that they would not put white people on Living Single. So they
did somebody comment on it?
Episode. Oh yeah, they were calling me a hater, a liar. I'm like, they literally stole the episodes, like bar for bar. Look at the Thanksgiving episodes, bar for bar. Is it like, stop it? But yeah,
that's hilarious.
That's how I feel.
That's actually pretty funny.
It's fun but sad, because they will stand behind Friends till the end of time, and I will continually remind them that Friends is a knockoff of Living Single. Because who did you know in New York having their own big ass apartments in their early 20s?
I thought that was common knowledge, and then I learned that a lot of people did not know that.
Yeah, I thought it was common knowledge.
Yeah,
maybe it's common knowledge because we're Black.
Good point. Good point.
Yes, it's like, yeah.
Like, my parents had to tell me that there is such a, like, when I was growing up, they had to tell me there's such a thing called Black people famous. Like,
Yes,
you're
it
famous
is.
for
It's
Black
kind of
people.
like how we have all known Kiki Palmer since Aquila and the Bee, and like people are
Oh my
just
God.
discovering her after she was in Nope, and we're just
Yeah.
like, but she's
It's the way that they downplay it. They're like, oh yeah, the star in Nope, baby. She has had her own TV shows on multiple networks,
yes,
albums, movies. Do
yes.
not do Kiki always get the bag Palmer like that.
You know
Ever.
what happened to me in like November last year? The one-on-one theme song got put on TikTok, and I put
Oh
it on
my
my
God.
story, and I was like, oh, the nostalgia. The
Yes.
amount of people who were like, what is this? I was just like, I was like,
That's how
no.
you know, Troy, that you're a crossover artist.
Did you just call her a crossover?
A crossover artist.
I despise you with the passion. You called that girl a crossover
A
artist.
crossover
Oh,
artist. But you know what? I feel like that's kind of probably
That's facts.
true. Because like when I was in school, I remember I would come home because I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood, and I would code switch so much when I was in school because they tried a lot in my middle school to kick all the Hispanic and Black kids out that they knew weren't zoned. So I code switched a lot, and so I still do it sometimes to today. But I would come home and my neighborhood friends would be like, "Why are you talking like that?" And I'm like what? And they're like the way you're talking, and I'm just like, oh, I can't stop it. It would be so bad. I wouldn't sometimes, no, literally, I would sometimes not be able to go back, and I'd be like, oh my God, I can't speak, and I still do that sometimes. So that's probably true, because I'm sure a lot of people think I'm whitewashed.
Troy having a whole masterclass in acting as a middle schooler.
The amount of people that would be like, you're from Third Ward. I'm just like, yeah. Born and raised, dude.
It's kind of how when I do phone interviews before they started doing video ones, and then I watch them and they'd be like, "You're Brittany." I'm like, "Yes, nice to meet you." And then after that, Ma, you will not believe what the fuck that ever said to me.
My name is Troy.
Yeah, I'm
Troy.
sure you get the double. Not to mention, not only is your name Troy, but your name is Troy with a Y, not with an I. So it really be sitting up for a loop.
Like here.
Y'all have those resume privilege names.
Oh yeah, everyone who sees Ocean Lane knows exactly.
Yeah, ain't nobody confused on Ocean Lane.
If they don't like our people, they ain't reading my resume. Sorry.
You know what's funny? When I first got hired with my first job, I had an interview with the guy that became my boss, and then it was a Black guy who I'm still friends with now. He was my mentor when I first started, and he was like, "No lie, your resume was done so well because the only reason that I knew that you were Black because you were the treasurer of NSBE." And I specifically did not write out the name. NSBE stands for National Society of Black Engineers, but I literally wrote acting secretary of the FSU FAMU NSBE chapter. That's all I wrote. He was like, I saw that, and I was like, I asked to be in the interview the moment I saw that.
He said, I got to see their faces. I got to be there.
So now we're trying to hire some new engineers, and he was like, Britt, you want to be on a panel? I was like, do I get to look at resumes? And he was like, yeah, because I'm trying to figure out if this girl is Black or not. And I was like, I'm impressed.
I had this one teacher in high school where he was taking roll for the first time, and I have a really basic last name, and so he was like, Mr. Taylor. I'm always in the room with other Taylors that are not related to me. So he was like, Mr. Taylor. And he said the name like 8 times. And he had counted us, so he knew everyone was supposed to be there. He was like, that's you, Mr. Troy. And I'm like right in front of his desk. And I was like, oh, I'm a girl. And he like, when I tell you the silence was loud, like he just sat there and listened to me.
What happened?
And then he was like, you see what happens when you make assumptions? You make an AWS out of you and me. I was just like, okay.
Out of you. Ain't got nothing to
do with me. Out of me.
Teachers are not able to assume gender anymore in the classroom.
No. They should have stopped a long time ago.
They should have.
And just be like, so-and-so, is this person here?
Yeah, right. Why don't they just ask us to say our names? Like, go row by row and say your name and tell me how to spell it, and I'll check off if you're here. Like,
keep in mind, I have a very generic name. Like my name, if you Google it, I'm
Thousands
on
of
the third page.
thousands.
Like that's how common my name is. But the first 2 pages of my name, they all look exactly the same.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine.
I can
yeah,
see that.
Funny enough, because I have 2 first names, I'm like one of 3 people that always pop up, which kind of
I'm
sucks.
so
'Cause
sorry.
everyone can find me. Like if it was just Troy Taylor, it'd be hard. But like
Yeah.
my name is Troy Nicole, so when people put Troy Nicole, I just pop up, and I'm just like, oh.
yeah,
That's
that's
annoying.
true.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell, I don't wear my name tag at work. Um, look, you're not gonna find me. They'll be like,
You don't do the
like,
preemptive block, because when I started my new job, I literally got the first and last name of all of my coworkers and then proceeded to find them on all social media and block them.
well, no, I'm not even for my coworkers. That my coworkers are cool. I'm
The,
talking about
the like customers, yeah.
Oh yeah, the customers.
Because they'd be like, oh, that's such an interesting name. How do you spell that? And I go, you spell it how it sounds. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yep.
Also, period.
You phonetically just write it down. Like,
You know
what's me, baby.
You know, it's so funny. When I was growing up, especially in school, when I would go to like people's houses or meet people, and even now to this day, I get people to ask me why like my name is my name, and it's people, and they're just like, huh, why did they choose that one? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's my dad's name. Like, it's not.
You know what you should say? You should say it's a family name.
Yeah.
Because a lot of girls in the South are named crazy names because of family.
Not crazy. Yeah. I say creative.
Creative.
Not crazy. Creative.
Like Palmer and Evanston and like just wild. And it's like there was the grandpa's name, great grandpa.
Yep. Now see, I've tried the whole like I'm named after someone thing, and I'm like, oh, did they think you were a boy? And I'm just like, no. No, they knew.
You know what you should say? You know what you should do the next time someone does that? You should just burst out crying. Make sure you cover your face. And just be like,
Sagittarius.
And they'll leave you alone after that. They'll be so real long. And they won't
to cry.
You are such a Sagittarius.
When in doubt, do white woman tears. Got it.
Troy. We are trying to get monetized.
We are never getting monetized.
We are trying to get crossover appeal.
We are never going to get crossover. I think we should just accept that. We are literally the indie. We are considered.
That is why we decided to start pre-recording these, so we can take out me being terrible.
This is what happens when you don't pre-record.
Okay, what are we reading? Oh my god. I'm just gonna mute you.
Oh man.
Did you mute me?
No. It was a joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm not muting anymore. What are we reading?
Right now.
Yeah.
I am reading. Let me go to my phone.
It's me pulling up my thing on my phone because I wrote them down because I'm a good person.
Where's my library? Oh, there it goes.
Let me turn the sound down.
Okay, outside of our book club pick, I've been listening to this book called Attached by Amir Levine.
Ooh.
And it's like talking about the different attachment styles and stuff like that, and like how people attach themselves to others. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
I just ordered our book. So I'm ready for when is the first reading sprint this week?
Tuesday.
I'm ready. Hopefully Amazon Prime comes through.
I am listening. No, I am reading Lore of the Wilds. I am finishing listening to the audiobook of The Memory Thieves, and then I will also be starting. To be honest, I will be starting our book read pick this week because
Same.
yeah.
Same. We're all in the same boat.
Like, what crazy shit have you read?
Here we go. So I've read a ton of books recently. A really great one is one of my favorite authors, Tijan. She's an indie, although I don't know if she's indie anymore because she's super, super popular now. But she just came out with a book called My Anti-Hero about a girl who is socially awkward, but really she survived a serial killer when she was little. Basically, she went over to her friend's house. She basically had the Troy. Okay. This is a great book. She had the worst day of her life because she went over to play at her friend's house and it was just her and her mom. It's her mom, and her brother. That's her family. She goes over to her friend's house. She's like 7 years old. And there's like a bunch, it's like her friend and her friend's whole family. And this guy comes into the house and kills everybody. And she hides underneath like a piece of furniture, and she's the only one that survived. And there's this viral video of her being carried outside of the house by these police officers, by like the FBI, and she's like covered in blood, and it went viral. And because of her testimony, they caught the serial killer, and he's now in prison for life. So the book starts off with, she goes on like kind of like a Today Show type news program because she hates publicity, right? But she wants to bring attention to like domestic violence and stuff like that. So she goes on the show. And right before she goes on the show, she bumps into this football player who she's like super into football. And she bumps
into
a
romance?
Yes. Tijan writes great books.
I gotta mute myself. Hold on.
The way y'all just lost it.
You know what? Keep going, but I'm about to.
Okay.
What?
She bumps into this football player that she instantly gets a crush on. And so as she's walking up to the stage to be on the TV show, she trips and he catches her. And that causes like another viral moment. And everyone's like, oh my God, like, look, it's like a meet cute. Like she tripped and he caught her, blah, blah, blah. So then she goes on to the TV show, does her segment, and then she's leaving and the football player like wants to talk to her. So he invites her to get coffee. And so they're in his car, and then he has his own issues, which I won't go into, but because of his issues, something she does like triggers him, and he's like, he freak out. Like he basically flips out on her and like is like, I don't want to go to coffee with you anymore, and just like leaves her. And she's just like, what the heck happened? But anyways, that's the beginning of the story, and it's really cute. And it's basically just about this girl who survived a serial killer, and she's just trying to live a normal life, and she lives with her adopted family. Oh, I forgot the worst part of the story.
Okay.
The same day she survived a serial killer, her mom and her brother die in a horrific car crash. So she's orphaned, and then she goes into foster care. But she gets a really good foster family when she's like 15 or 16. Anyway, this is going kind of long, but it's a really good story.
What is the name of the book?
It's called My Anti-Hero. I recommend it. It was really good.
Okay.
It's not predictable at all. Like you don't really.
I can tell.
See, well, Tijan is known for that. Like she's known for writing stories that aren't really very predictable. You don't really know where they're going. That's why she's so popular now. Anyway,
was this a recommended book?
So that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. I could talk about 5 other books, but I won't.
Was this an Amazon recommended book? I'm just curious.
No, Tijan's one of my favorite authors, so I just always check for her books.
Well, a lot of us were like, what the hell? Looks like some people are adding it to the TBR. Remember how we always said this? Like, you always have the most insane books that like nobody's ever heard of. And we're always shook, but somebody always adds it to their TBR. Watch this book be on Book Talk in like 3 months.
Probably. It's probably already on there. Honestly, Tijan's pretty popular. But my favorite part of this life is when y'all said this is a romance.
Because nothing you described was romantical.
I thought you
information. I had no idea you were about to be like, and then when you said she met the football player, I was like, bitch, wait, stop. What?
The minute you mentioned the man, I was like, is this a romance?
The way y'all both had the same reaction at the same time. Oh, that was gold.
Shoot.
Oh, God. Highly recommend. 5 stars.
Y'all, my forehead is just crazy right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let me give some announcements.
You're frozen. Oh, there you go.
Dang. I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. I saw it. It blinked out. Here are the announcements for Black Prose Club if you're interested. The current group read is Miss Chloe, a memoir of literary friendship with Toni Morrison by A.J. Verdell. That is the book that we will be discussing in April. And so if you want to join us for that discussion, you can join us this week, Tuesday, March 12th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. We'll be doing reading sprints for this particular book. Again, if you want to just join the reading sprints, it could be a productivity sprint. It could be whatever you want it to be. Come join us. We have a great time. And then on Sunday, March 24th, we will have another podcast. Also, let us know in the comments, because you're also liking this video as I'm doing these announcements. Let us know in the comments, do you mind if it's pre-recorded, or do you like the live sessions? Please let us know for research purposes. Thank you. That is all of your announcements for today.
Yes. Also, like, we have some comments over here, what people are reading.
Oh, yeah. I just got done with Fear Me by BB Reed. Okay, I did a non-spoiler review and a vlog about it. Nah, they didn't. Oh, yeah, I have Fayborn too. That's on my list. I have a mental TBR, but I purposely cannot put out a TBR video every month because the moment it goes on my TBR, I no longer want to read it. I don't know.
That is facts.
So
that is such facts.
I'm very much a mood reader.
Yeah. Lore of the Wild sounds interesting.
That's the one that I started. It's the one about the girl who gets kidnapped in like a Fey world and ends up in a magical library.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh no, not you DNF'd Feybound. How far did you get into Feybound before you DNF'd? Crap. I've been hearing a lot of mixed comments about Feybound, which is why I wanted to hurry up and read it so that I could make my own thoughts, so I can watch other people's videos about it. Because I don't like to watch videos about books that I plan on reading like pretty like in the present time. Like if I don't plan on reading this book until like months later, I will happily watch your video. But
yeah, because you don't want it to influence like how you're about to go into the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. First few chapters. Dang, the same thing happened to me with Final Strife. So I don't think that author is for me. That's valid. That's totally valid. Notice how she said she wasn't a fan of it, and she just recognizes that there's just might not be her speed. We love that. Anything else? Sorry, the coughing is getting real. Any more announcements from either of you? Either one of you doing something special that we don't know about? While TikTok is still available, go follow Troy.
Oh my God.
We want to try to get her to 20K, y'all.
Yeah, sure. That's our next goal. I'm waiting for the 100 because that's when I'm going to go buy the balloons. Listen, I have faith.
And notice I did the acronym. I didn't say the word.
I'm so proud.
You're doing so good.
I don't censor myself on my channel, so that's the problem. That's why I'll never be monetized.
And you know what? That's fair because you don't have to be monetized to get sponsored.
That part.
No, that's very true. That's so true. I never thought about it that way, but you're right.
Oh, I heard the Kiss countdown was really cute. It had a
black astronaut.
I don't think I've heard that. I'm willing to try that one out.
Me too.
Oh, we have one vote for Alive.
I personally like the live because when I catch it, I get more pieces of media to watch and read, even though it wouldn't cross my feed before this club. But if we did premiere, if we did it pre-recorded, then you could still go back and watch it. And I mean, granted, we wouldn't be interacting with you in the comments, so I guess that is the part.
And also, technically, when we do them live, they can have both. I think is what she's trying to say. Like, if she wants to watch it live, she can watch it live. But then, like after it's done, it's still on our channel for them to go back and watch.
Okay, that makes sense.
Venus said, "I like putting up in the lives."
While y'all are here, definitely give this a like. We appreciate all the likes that we can get.
On that note, I need to go because I need to eat dinner and start preparing for tomorrow's workday. Yes. So remember to love your hobbies.
Yes.
Time for you. And we will see you guys on Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah.